Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today I've been doing several different projects. And one of them, as you can see behind me, is thinning out my apples and putting bags on them. I'm also thinning my pears and bagging those. Now let me show you closer what I'm doing and I'll explain why I'm doing that. Now this is the time of year, if you have pear trees and apple trees, to start thinking about spraying for coddling moth and for the worms that get in the pears. But I don't want to spray. It's not that I don't believe in spraying, it's just that I would rather find other ways to do it if possible. And I found that actually bagging your fruit helps you avoid getting worms. First I'm going to show you how I thin my fruit. I've thinned my pears a little bit, and I've also thinned most of my apples, but I've left a few so that I can show you how I do it. So if we get close in here, we see one little apple and we see some little stubs right here. This is where I pruned off all of the apples around it. Let me show you what one of the clusters looked like before I thinned it. So right here we have a nice healthy cluster of apples. We have one that I tried to prune off with one hand, but my pruners are very dull right now. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 apples and they're all connected to the same place. So let's see if I could show you that. They're connected right here to this spur. That's the way apples grow. They flower and fruit on one spur. So, but we don't want all of those. We just want the biggest, healthiest one, which is in the middle. We're going to take each one of these and we're going to cut them off with my very dull pruners. So now all we have left is this one single apple, and that's how it's going to grow. Now let me show you how I bag these and then talk a little bit about why we bag them. Now this is a drawstring organza bag that I saved from last year. If you just pull on these little strings, it closes right up. These are gift bags that you can find for cheap on Amazon. I think these are the 5x7 variety, and they're a little small for my apples, but they're what I have, so that's what I'm going to use. So what you do is you find your little apple, take your organza bag, put it over the top, and then you just draw the string tight. And that way, when the coddling moth comes, they can't lay their eggs or inject their worms into these apples. Now for pears, let me show you the pear over here, because my pear is very conveniently close. Now I have a little pear right here that I thinned. I thinned it exactly the same way as apples, and my apples and pears grow the same way. So we've got one here, we've got one here, we've got one just out of the camera range. So I'm going to put organza bags over all of these. So we do it the same way. We just take it over the top of the fruit, draw the string, and now it's protected. I'd like to show you what you need to avoid bagging. This is a cute little pear. On one side it looks really healthy, but when you turn it around, you've got a little dark hole right there, right by where my finger is. This one is already infected by whatever worm goes into pears, and I'm not sure what it is. I don't think it's the coddling moth that goes into the apples. But this pear is already infected, so I'm just going to pull it off, even though it's painful. The ones that I've bagged, I've checked every single one, and none of them have those little holes in them. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this and show you what the tree looks like after I'm done. Now I definitely did not have enough bags for all of the fruit, but I have about 200 bags, maybe 250, and I used all of them. So each little fruit is encased in its own protective shell. Now this is my brand new columnar apple. This is a North Pole, and it had a ton of fruit on it. I think I pulled 50 off of it. I was going to leave 5, but then I decided to be responsible, allow it to develop its roots, and so I'm only going to save 1. So hopefully this one will survive, and I'll be able to sample my North Pole apple. My Scarlet Sentinel is a little young and it's a little small, so I didn't leave any on that one. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. I'm glad to have this job done. My next job is to finish amending the beds for my tomatoes. We're still getting in the low 40s, and I don't think we're going to have good enough nighttime weather until next Tuesday. This is a Saturday. So I think I have until Tuesday to finish the beds for the tomatoes. It's really hard to wait, but I'd rather have the tomatoes stay healthy and be able to fruit for me rather than plant them early. Now, if you've enjoyed my videos, I hope you like and subscribe, share them with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.